I love that your last slide talked about focusing on the future. And here we are coming on to our last slide. And this has been such a platform for you to network, to gain knowledge and to be inspired. And what we want to talk about now is what's next. So from one Sue to another, I'm delighted to welcome Professor Sue Fletcher-Watson and Alan Thornburrow to the stage to take us away for our final session.
No, we're fine, we're fine. I'm actually going to let, Robin has begged for 5 minutes to say something. So let me introduce Robin Dow. Robin, take it away.
Thank you, Sue. Hi, I'm a trustee of Salveson Mind Room Centre. I would like to engage all of your participation in 3 final flapauses. I'm going to explain the flapause process just now. So first of all, I would like you to say, after my first one, I'd like you to use a very big right hand in support of what I've just said and in recognition of our wonderful people. Second one, I'd like you to raise a very big left hand. And the final one, I'd like you to raise 2 very big hands. So if I miss out thanking anybody in particular, I do apologize now, but please, everybody, consider yourselves thanked. Flapause number 1 is for the people at EICC. I think they've provided a wonderful venue, incredible support, on both front of house and back of house. And I have to say, I'm absolutely proud that we have a facility like this in Edinburgh. I'd like to thank Jane Cunningham as our red thread, who's managed to do an extraordinary job of continuity and timekeeping. So thank you, Jane. The same is true of our partners. We've had incredible support from Integrity, the event organizers, from 4Media, our communications partners, and from Fusion Medical Animation for the extraordinary and wonderful opening film. Heartfelt thanks for a group that hasn't been mentioned before, but Sophie and I have amazing friends from around the world who donated approximately £40,000 to enable us to provide bursaries for people to attend the conference who otherwise wouldn't have been able to come because they didn't have the disposable income to do that. So thank you all, bursary donors. Now, that's the end of item of group 1. So can we have a big right hand, please? Thank you very much. That's lovely. Flapause number 2 is really for all of the companies that have been listed but mysteriously have vanished from the bottom of this particular slide. But SSE is the principal sponsor, and all of the other companies that have been involved, and Edinburgh University, who have been incredibly generous and whose support has been invaluable. So I think what I would like to also say at this point is save this delegate pass, because you will be able to say, I was there. And I think that's going to be very important in the years ahead. The program has been absolutely fantastic, and it's been brought to life by the exceptional work and the brilliant presentation skills of over 50 speakers. Hats off to every single one of you. Sue and Sophie are the architects, they're the content curators, the creative directors, and tireless campaigners who've made Itacom happen. Yes, they've had lots of support too, and from many quarters, what I've experienced in the past 2 days is the priceless gift of Sue and Sophie. They really are world changers. I'll come back to them in just a second. So the conclusion of number 2 is that I didn't mention the teams from both Sue's organizations, Salveson Mind Room Research Centre, from Salveson Mind Room Centre themselves, and the groups that surround them. They have been fantastic in enabling all of this to happen. I would also like to acknowledge that behind all of this, we have a very modest and philanthropic supporter and extremely committed individual in Alistair Salveson. And I think it would be remiss of me and of all of us if we didn't recognize his fantastic contribution. So can we have a very big left hand for all of those? Thank you very much. So finally, what I would like to do is ask Sue and Sophie to come up to the stage, and we've got a small gift for you.
This is not in the script. No, this was not. This is not what I signed up for.
Called When Life Doesn't Fold.
This is in the spirit of a great operatic finale. Those of you who go to the opera know that there's always a bouquet.
Well, thank you. Oh, my Lord.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm going to have to cycle home with this in the front of my bike basket.
Exactly. Am I getting off now, yes?
Thank you, Robin.
Do you want us to take that for you?
I'll pop it over here so you can all admire it. Isn't that lovely?
So here we are. Goodness me, it is the closing of 2 remarkable days. I couldn't possibly sum up what we've just heard, seen and experienced, and you'll be very grateful I don't do that because it would take far too long. What I do want to say is it has been a remarkable achievement to deliver all of this. Sue and Sophie and all the many that Robin has mentioned and many that we haven't been able to mention, we owe a huge debt of thanks to. We've had 52 speakers, 50 sessions, 924 delegates, and 24 different countries represented. I think that is amazing, and it shows, because I had long, beautiful hair before all of this. I can't sum it up, as I say, but I think what I'm very, very pleased, and will probably, think on for a long time, is the richness of content, of ideas, of engagement, of conversations that we've seen and heard throughout these last 2 days, whether they're up here on the podium, in the breakout rooms, or even just in discussion over coffee. I think that is a triumph. We've had lived experience stitched right through the centre, and that is exactly as it should be, and it's why we were formed, and we will continue to do the work that we do. We've had research insight that has frankly blown my mind, most notably this morning, that was significantly above my pay grade, but just brilliant. And we've had practice and insights from all sorts of areas across the whole programme. And it is that very multidisciplinary approach that Sue, myself, and many more in the audience here advocate. We want and need collaboration and approaches that join up across the board. So we've heard a bit about that, but what next? Sue, what do you think?
Well, I was just going to say a couple of things that I think are next for me personally, which might also resonate for you. So one thing is this idea that I'm not, in the words of Nick Walker, doomed to be neurotypical my entire life, which I love. I love this idea of neuroqueering, the idea that our brains, our bodies, our minds are ours to use and adapt and change and manipulate and have fun with. And I thought that was a wonderful idea, and this idea that while I'm to some extent an advocate for categories because I think they give us a useful vocabulary to describe inequalities in the world, I also like the idea that we don't have to be bound by them in any way. So I'm excited about exploring how I'm going to be more weird, right? That's going to be fun, and maybe some of you would like to be more weird too. And some of you are extremely weird already and will act as my role models, which is excellent. The other thing I want to take away personally is that particularly in our keynotes yesterday from Paul and Pella and Holly, I think all three of them invoked more than one important adult in their lives. The teacher who allowed Pella to smell her hair, the apple shampoo, the college professor who explained, I think, to Paul maybe for the first time that he was allowed to ask for help, and his mom who believed in him the whole way through, right, her little ray of sunshine, Holly's teacher who made her cupboard monitor a made-up job so that she could have somewhere to escape from the hustle and bustle of the playground. And so I would like to be that person for some people that I encounter along the way in the future. What can I do when I meet someone to, in that situation, in that moment, you know, provide that tiny little escape or support or creative idea without fuss, without bother, to enable them to feel welcome and accepted and to flourish. So that's what I'm taking away.
I'd like to ask you to take something away, if I may. Who's familiar with what three words? Have you ever come across that? Yep, so lots of nods. So the what three words for here are here's, global, and bronze. And consistent with all what three words nomenclature, it doesn't make any sense to me. But what I wanted to do was say, what three actions can we take? So here's, you've heard and been inspired by, I think, just the greatest minds, whether they are individuals with lived experience, whether they're academics, whether they are employers or otherwise. You've heard so much here today. Reflect on it. It's available for 90 days, but let's do something with it. Global, well, we've demonstrated we are global, I think, both in the room and far beyond with the various countries that have been involved. And bronze is significant. So often we're reaching for perfection. I know I reach for perfection and I fail miserably every time and give myself a really hard time. Let's reach for bronze. You know, it's okay to be good enough. It's okay to take a step forward, to not have the language, to not really be confident or comfortable. But as we've done through the course of today and yesterday, let's have the conversation. Sue's invitation in the joining instructions was, let's do just that. Let's not get too hung up on things. Of course, we want to find the right form of words. Of course, we want to have conversations, but we all need to take a step forward. So that brings me to my three actions. First of all, what can you personally do? You know, allyship is well known, well understood, well trodden. Let's destigmatize. Let's challenge stereotypes. Let's call out things that could be better without giving people a row, and language might be one of those. You know, we can just help people to learn as we go along. So that's something we can all do in this room and beyond. But you can do more than that as an individual. You can think about the sphere of influence that you operate within. That might be a university, it might be a workplace, it might be any manner of different other settings. But you might be able to just initiate a conversation that hasn't yet taken place, or to advance that conversation. And the final one is, we are nothing without connection. We subtly slid in our new brand here, and it is significant for a few reasons. It is all grounded in connection, both the literal connections that we heard about this morning, within the brain, but actually the connections we have all made as people, as human beings, you know, online or in person today. That's what sustains. That's what Paul challenged us to do, and good on him. You know, we are an awful lot more when we come together. So let's do that. Who are the people, who's the individual, the organization that you might continue the conversation with after you leave here today? Don't commit to doing anything necessarily, but just keep it going. That might be us, but equally, it's absolutely grand if it's not. Go and do stuff in your sphere of influence. Challenge, destigmatize, challenge stereotypes, and get on and let's change the world a little bit at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been our distinct pleasure to have you all. We're absolutely thrilled. Please go forward, change the world, work with us, work with yourselves, work on your own, but let's do it. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
Thank you.
You're allowed to go home now. 3 minutes early as well.
Oh, my word.
We'll hang around for a while. If anyone wants to talk, please feel free to do so. If you'd like to scurry off home, I absolutely endorse that as well.